Hello everyone and welcome to WWE Discussion. I'm your host and WWE enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Friday Night Smackdown February 9, 2024 edition. An edition of Friday Night Smackdown that dealt with the fallout from an explosive WrestleMania 40 kickoff where Cody Rhodes made his decision, that decision being Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Also, WWE setting up Elimination Chamber. We know that the winner of the men's chamber match will be challenging Seth Rollins at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight title. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with the game himself, Triple H, addressing the events of the WrestleMania kickoff, joined in the squared circle by the Raw and SmackDown general managers Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. So Triple H hinted at a power struggle between him and The Rock before acknowledging that the final decision lies with him. It will be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. From there, Aldis and Pearce announced that the next challenger for Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship will be determined at Elimination Chamber. Matches to determine the 6 superstars who will compete at the premium live event will begin on SmackDown. McIntyre hit the ring for his match, taking a few shots at CM Punk, taking credit for Rhodes choosing to finish the story, and vowed to save the world title by beating Rollins at WrestleMania. Red Hot start to the show that intensified the tensions between The Rock and Triple H, and reiterated the main event of the biggest show of the year, and turned attention to deciding a number one contender for Rollins through a series of what could be great in-ring contests, all accumulating at Elimination Chamber on February 24th. Elimination Chamber qualifier, Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. And anytime you put two pros like McIntyre and Styles together, there's a certain level of quality to be expected. This was a strong match supported by the reaction of the audience. Now, could it have been done without LA Knight at ringside? Yeah, but it furthered the feud between those two, which will only intensify now that Styles lost out on a chance to compete inside the Elimination Chamber, which would have given him an opportunity to compete at WrestleMania. Now that does raise the question of Styles versus Knight. When does that matchup happen? Is it at Elimination Chamber? Is it at WrestleMania? The way I see it, I think it's better saved for WrestleMania. LA Knight is going to be a part of the WrestleMania card. And what better way to do that than put him in the ring against AJ Styles and get him a win over AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Now shifting over to the women's side of things, we had one match there, one chamber qualifier match there, Bianca Belair versus Michin. And this was the latest in a series of strong in-ring performances from Michin, who should be in line for a bigger push post-WrestleMania. She has repeatedly proven herself, and it is no accident that she is receiving the television time that she is right now. Belair winning was the right call, and that she is an elite performer and brings star power to any match that she is in. So Belair is in the chamber. Now, will she win the chamber match? Unlikely, which certainly does create an interesting question of what will she do at WrestleMania if she's not competing for a title. Well, there is that possibility of having Belair face Jade Cargill. If WWE is comfortable with that, if Jade is ready for that, why not make it happen? WrestleMania 40, Belair versus Cargill. And then the show concludes with one last chamber qualifier, Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton, and Orton will make his return, or will return to the Elimination Chamber for the 9th time in his career, with a win over Sami Zayn. Zayn dominated the action for the most part, capitalizing on previously injured back of the Viper after dumping him on the announcer's table. Frustration set in late for Zayn, though, as he failed to put away the third-generation star. Late, he springboarded, bouncing off the ropes and hitting an RKO, as Orton proved earlier that all it takes is one. Generally, that's usually all it takes, and also RKO is indeed the 3 most destructive letters in all of WWE. The show went off the air with Drew McIntyre confronting Orton, teasing renewed issues between the two, and hyping two top-tier stars who have already qualified for the Elimination Chamber. There is some history between those two guys, and it's a pretty solid history between those two. And now there's an interesting question to be raised for both Zayn and Orton. Orton unlikely to win the chamber match, so what is his path to WrestleMania? Who would he face? Orton's going to be on the card. Zayn, on the other hand, I'm not too sure. Now, here's the thing, I want Sami Zayn on the WrestleMania card. You can't get everybody on there, though. So does Zayn have a path to WrestleMania? Does he make the card? You would think he would, but I don't know if that's a certainty at this point. He has a very unclear path that might see him left off the WrestleMania card, which is unfortunate. It happens every year. Certain guys and girls just get left off the card that you don't want to see, but it happens. So I guess we'll see how things play out for Zayn and Orton on the road to WrestleMania. In conclusion, WWE is cooking right now, and this episode is reflective of it. It started by addressing the hottest topic in professional wrestling and enhancing it with Triple H's defiance in the face of The Rock and Roman Reigns' shared power, and proceeded to set the framework of the night's event by revealing the Elimination Chamber qualifiers, with the winners advancing the perf to compete for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. The show had another good match with Michin, this time with Bianca Belair, and Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa proved that even when they don't get adequate TV time, they can still steal the show. Both McIntyre, Styles and Orton versus Zayn were strong matches, and both furthered the storylines within. In the case of the former, it was the intensification of Styles versus Knight, while in the latter, it was Zayn's quest to prove his worth as a contender to the world title, falling just short. This show knew the stories it was working with, executed them efficiently, and delivered from an in-ring perspective to boot. With potentially more eyes on the product, this show delivered big time. And with that will conclude this episode of the Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below.